Think about the people who hold the history of your 20s.
Oh, that is a heavy thought right out of the gate.
Right. But seriously, think about the ones who know exactly who you were before the world sort of, sanded down your edges.
Yeah, before you started making all those adult compromises.
Exactly. You probably have a few of them vividly in your mind right now.
I definitely do.
Now, I want you to imagine what happens when one of those ghosts from your past suddenly crashes into your present-day reality.
Oh, wow. Just out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. And they're carrying this heavy suitcase full of, unsaid words, old grievances, and just the staggering weight of a life not lived.
That is a terrifying proposition.
It really is. And today we are plunging straight into excerpts from Lily King's novel, Heart the Lover.
Which is just a brilliant, brilliant piece of writing.
It is. We are doing a deep dive to explore the anatomy of a love triangle that spans over 2 decades.
Yeah, we're dissecting how our youthful fears and the paths we just refuse to take end up becoming the architects of our entire lives.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it. To really grasp the foundation of this whole dynamic, we have to look at the specific ecosystem where these 3 people collide.
Right, which is their college years.
Exactly. We meet the protagonist, Jordan, who finds herself caught in the gravitational pull of 2 best friends.
Sam and Yash.
Yes, Sam and Yash. And these 2 men operate on fundamentally opposing psychological frequencies. I mean, they couldn't be more different.
Let's look at the mechanics of Sam first, because he is, he's a lot.
He really is.
If you want a real-world analogy, Sam is like a train on a track.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Right. He only knows how to move forward if the rails are already laid down by some external authority. If there's an unexpected turn, he just completely derails.
He literally cannot handle spontaneity.
No, not at all. He is deeply, rigidly religious. He keeps copies of St. Augustine and Paul the Apostle right by his bed.
Which, tells you a lot about his mindset.
It does. And his moral boundaries are this bizarre, punitive labyrinth. He absolutely refuses to have actual intercourse with Jordan.
Right, because he carries this intense religious guilt over a past relationship where he, quote-unquote, sinned.
Right. Yet he has compartmentalized his morality so much that he's perfectly fine with heavy physical intimacy, provided it happens on the hard floor of a dormitory hallway.
It makes no sense. But that compartmentalization is key to understanding his need for control, I think.
Yeah, totally.
He views morality not as an internal compass, but as this absolute binary imposed from above. And this need for strict order extends way beyond religion.
It bleeds into his social expectations, too.
Exactly. Consider that disastrous visit to his parents' house outside Atlanta.
Oh, that scene is so painful to read.
It's agonizing. Jordan makes a small, slightly cynical joke at the dinner table.
Just a normal college kid joke.
Right. And Sam doesn't just get annoyed, he literally breaks up with her over it.
Wait, he labels her impertinent.
Right.
Yes.
Impertinent.
And that specific word is incredibly revealing.
How so? Well, it implies a strict hierarchy, It says that he and his family are stationed above her, and she failed to show the required deference.
Wow. Yeah, it's not about her hurting his feelings. It's about her breaking the rules of his established social order.
Exactly. And then on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you have Yash.
Yash is completely off-roading.
Yes.
It's a bumpier ride, but he's drawing the map as he goes.
Yash is the intellectual, funny, Indian-American best friend.
He's just devouring Proust, debating Greek tragedy with his professors, and constantly inventing these elaborate, evolving narratives.
He is so creative, with that card game.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
He literally makes up an entire aristocratic backstory for a chaotic group card game they play. What was it called again?
Sir Hincombe Funnibuster.
Yes, Sir Hincombe Funnibuster. And to play, you have to adopt this formal persona and politely ask your opponents for cards like Speed the Gardner's Twins.
Or Sir Hincombe Funnibuster's parrot.
Right. It's so absurd and open-ended.
Yash's mind is just expansive. But we have to look at why Jordan is drawn to these 2 drastically different men in the first place.
That's a great point. Because she's dealing with her own baggage.
Oh, massive baggage. Jordan is carrying the weight of a highly unstable background. Her parents went through a vicious divorce.
Her father was fired under highly scandalous circumstances, too.
Yeah, and she is drowning in student loans, working exhausting night shifts just to stay enrolled in school.
So, initially, Sam's rigid tracks look like a safe route out of the chaos.
Exactly. It looks like stability. But, as we see, rails that strict quickly become a cage.
Which is exactly when Yash transitions from a friend into a sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
There's this beautifully illuminating shift that happens during a summer they spend together on campus while Sam is temporarily out of the picture.
It's a great sequence.
Jordan and Yash take that chaotic, crowded group card game and completely re-engineer the mechanics.
They strip away all the noise.
Yeah, and they create this intimate two-person version they call honeymoon hinkum.
It becomes their own private language.
They're basically building a micro-world where they set the rules, completely insulated from the judgment of the outside world.
Insulated, perhaps, but never truly secure.
Why do you say that?
Because Sam's influence operates like this dark undercurrent, even when he isn't physically in the room.
Oh, right. He's always looming.
There's a brutal moment where Sam writes Jordan a note specifically to pass along a cruel comment made by Yash's domineering father.
Oh, I remember this.
The father had told Yash that Jordan sounds like the kind of girl you divorce.
That is just such a calculated strike.
It really is.
And Sam doesn't even say it himself. He uses the father's authority to plant the bomb.
And Jordan internalizes that shrapnel immediately.
Of course she does. Given her own family's history of broken marriages, a part of her deeply fears that the father is right.
She fears she is inherently flawed, that she's destined to ruin whatever she touches.
That psychological wound really highlights the inherent fragility of their honeymoon hinkomb sanctuary.
Absolutely, because a college campus is an artificial bubble.
Yeah, you could spend 4 years debating philosophy and inventing card games, but eventually the academic semester ends.
Graduation acts as an eviction notice from that safe theoretical space,
It forces all three of them out into the blunt force of reality.
where theoretical debates suddenly demand actual, irreversible actions.
And that collision with reality brings us to Paris.
Yes, the Paris section is just incredible.
Jordan moves to France to work as an au pair, trying to figure out her life, and Yash comes to visit her.
The environment Lily King builds here is incredibly rich.
It really is. They do their own walking tour of Proust's haunts.
And they find this little Indian restaurant in the 5th arrondissement called Le Punjab.
And this is vital, right?
Right.
Because of Yash's relationship with his heritage.
Exactly. Yash's father raised him to treat his Indian heritage like a Death Star.
Like a Death Star.
Yeah, like this massive, dangerous weight that Yash was supposed to avoid at all costs in order to assimilate into American culture.
Wow, okay. But at Le Punjab, it's different.
Completely different. The owners celebrate him, they feed him, they recognize him. For the first time, his heritage isn't a burden.
It's a point of connection.
Yes.
Yeah.
They even take a train up to the Swiss Alps, hiking up to this dark green pool.
Oh, I loved that part. Their profound isolation is only occasionally interrupted by the sound of cows wearing giant clanging bells.
It is the absolute zenith of their relationship. The world is finally opening up for Yash.
And the universe essentially hands him the keys to this new reality.
Right. The boyfriend of Jordan's employer, a man named Laurent, offers Yash a ground floor job in the emerging field of artificial intelligence.
It isn't just a job offer, though.
No, it's an offer for a parallel universe.
It's a chance to secure a work permit, stay in Paris, and build a tangible life with Jordan, far away from the expectations of his family.
And he actually accepts the job at first.
He does. But the celebration doesn't even last a day.
Nope.
He goes into a public phone booth to call his dad back in the States.
And in less than 10 minutes, his father completely dismantles him.
It's so sad. The dad insists Yash needs to come back immediately, work for the family business, or take a safe, predictable entry-level job in New York.
And hovering right behind the dad's voice is the looming judgmental shadow of Sam.
Sam, who had previously lost his mind with jealousy when Yash admitted he had feelings for Jordan.
Right. So Yash walks out of that phone booth, folds completely, and abandons the Paris plan.
He is presented with a terrifying leap into an unknown joy, and he chooses the suffocating safety of known misery.
He really does.
Now wait, I actually struggle to buy that at face value.
Really? Why?
Think about who Yash is. This is the guy who famously argued in Dr. Gastrell's literature seminar that Greek tragedies are not driven by some predetermined fate set by the gods.
Right, the hamartia argument.
Yes. He argued fiercely for hamartia, the concept of random, preventable human error.
He stood in a classroom and argued that we are all vulnerable to tragedy simply because of our own flawed choices.
Exactly. So how does a guy with that level of intellectual rebellion just roll over for his dad in a 10-minute phone call?
What's fascinating here is that tension is the psychological core of the novel.
Okay, unpack that for me.
What we are witnessing is the vast chasm between intellectual fearlessness and personal paralysis.
Wow.
Yash can deconstruct Aristotle and Tolstoy with brilliant clarity because the stakes are strictly theoretical.
But when the mechanics of familial guilt are activated in his own life,
His intellect is useless. His father's voice operates like a deeply ingrained operating system, overriding Yash's newly downloaded desires.
that is a great way to put it.
Yash plays it safe out of a profound fear of failure and the terror of familial rejection.
And his ultimate tragedy, his real-life hamartia, is that this desperate grasp for safety results in the most devastating misconnection of his life.
Absolutely.
The scene at the Newark airport perfectly captures the weight of that era.
Oh, that scene is heartbreaking.
Jordan returns to the States, and they have a firm plan to meet at baggage claim. Picture the mechanics of this. She is standing by Carousel 3. She has this heavy, oatmeal-colored suitcase. She watches the conveyor belt start, flights land, strangers greet each other, hug, and leave.
The carousel eventually empties. The belt stops.
And he never shows up.
He never shows up.
She finally finds a payphone, calls his dad's house, and his stepmother casually drops the anvil. Yash isn't coming to New York. He went to Atlanta to be with Sam.
That single decision, made out of sheer panic in a Parisian phone booth, creates a 21-year vacuum.
21 years.
Think about a time in your own life when you had to choose between a terrifying leap and a comfortable safety net.
Right.
It's so easy to judge Yash for abandoning her at the carousel, but how many of us has made that exact same phone call?
We rationalize our fear by calling it being practical.
We do, all the time.
And the thing about vacuums is they demand to be filled. You can't just leave a massive what if floating in the atmosphere indefinitely.
No, it eventually catches up to you.
Which brings that unlived possibility crashing right into Jordan's literal driveway in Maine decades later.
The contrast between the heartbreak of their 20s and the established reality of their 40s is just jarring.
Jordan isn't an unmoored college student anymore. She is a successful novelist.
She is married to a deeply kind man named Silas.
She is raising 2 young boys, Jack and Harry. She has dogs, a wood stove, a mortgage.
Her life is fully realized, solid, and tangible.
And then Yash just walks into it.
Just shows up.
He's doing a road trip up the coast, and when he steps out of his car, he is carrying the exact same green duffel bag he brought to Paris 21 years ago.
It's like a time capsule breached her front door.
It feels like a haunting, right? But he isn't just a ghost rattling chains.
What is he then?
It's almost like he's an architect inspecting a building he didn't design, trying to overlay the blueprint of their college days onto her adult life, desperately searching for echoes of the girl he knew to see if he still fits into the structure.
Oh, that's beautiful. He is hunting for a timeline he abandoned.
Yes.
And there is a moment at a local playground that beautifully illustrates the agony of that hunt.
The tree scene.
Yes. Yash climbs a massive pine tree with Jordan's sons. While they are up in the branches, he tells the boys the ancient myth of Daphne and Apollo.
Remind us how that myth goes.
He explains how Daphne, desperate to escape Apollo's relentless pursuit, begs the gods for help and is transformed into a laurel tree.
Right.
Yash describes the precise moment Apollo catches up to her. Her skin is turning to bark, her arms to branches. But for just a few seconds, Apollo presses his hand against the wood and can still feel her human heartbeat slowing down, trapped inside the trunk.
That is so evocative.
And then Yash has Jordan's boys press their small hands against the pine tree to feel its pulse.
That is utterly devastating when you look at the mechanics of the metaphor.
It really is.
Yash is Apollo. He is finally caught up to her, but Jordan has permanently transformed into a new life, a mother, a wife, a homeowner to protect herself.
She is the tree.
She is the tree. And Yash is pressing his hands against the bark of her current life, trying to feel the pulse of the 20-year-old girl from Paris hidden inside.
He sees the magnificent life she built, the life he could have been the foundation of.
And the absolute finality of his loss sets in.
He realizes the door is sealed.
Yeah.
When he leaves early the next morning, he doesn't wake her. Instead, he leaves behind a book about Iceland on her table.
And tucked inside its pages is a handwritten quote from Louis Ferdinand Céline's novel, Journey to the End of the Night.
It is a specific passage they had debated endlessly in college after a mutual friend passed away.
And the quote is a brutal mirror.
It really is.
The narrator in Céline's book talks about kissing a woman, but intentionally not kissing her properly.
Right.
About being distracted, holding back his passion, trying to save his time and tenderness for something magnificent or sublime that might happen later on.
But the tragedy is later never comes.
Exactly. The narrator realizes he has been entirely tricked by life, hoarding his passion in a savings account for a future that didn't exist, while bankrupting the very real moment he had in his hands.
Yash is weaponizing his own college theories against himself.
He is.
He argued in Dr. Gastrell's seminar that human behavior doesn't improve, that we are doomed to repeat our flawed choices.
So leaving that specific bookmark is his confession.
He is admitting that he is trapped by his own unlived life. He hoarded his tenderness for a safe, practical, parentally approved future, and in doing so, he lost his only chance at something magnificent.
I want you to ask yourself, are you hoarding your own tenderness right now?
That's a great question to reflect on.
Are you saving your best efforts, your deepest loves, for a later that isn't guaranteed?
It's a sobering thought.
Now, a quiet, melancholic regret like that is heavy, but it's something a person can learn to live with.
You can survive a melancholic what if.
You can, but life has a terrifying habit of shattering our quiet reflections with visceral, screaming reality.
It does.
The story doesn't end with a wistful bookmark in Maine. It ends a few years later under the fluorescent lights of room 508 in an Atlanta hospital.
The stakes shift from the emotional to the existential. We move from the pain of a life unlived to the stark terror of a life ending.
The reality Jordan's facing back home at this point is every parent's worst nightmare.
It is horrific.
Her oldest son, Jack, has developed severe brain gliomas.
He is suffering from agonizing seizures.
He has to wear a special hat with magnets stitched into it just to manage the blinding pain, and they're desperately waiting for a highly risky brain surgery.
And right in the middle of this suffocating maternal terror, Jordan's phone buzzes.
It's a text message from Sam.
Yash has cancer.
The clinical trial failed. He is actively dying.
Jordan drops everything and flies to Atlanta.
And Lily King constructs the hospital scene with such grounded brilliance.
It isn't a quiet, sanitized, cinematic deathbed.
No. The room is packed with loud men watching March Madness on a glowing TV.
Yash is sitting up the hospital bed wearing a Georgia Bulldogs cap, yelling at the basketball game, while a Foley catheter and my V bags hang off the rails.
It's a jarring collision of the mundane world continuing on while a man's universe ends.
And when he sees Jordan walk in, his entire face illuminates.
He reaches out, holds her hand, and despite the decades, despite the betrayals, he calls her babe.
It's so moving.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh.
The most profound element in that room isn't just the reunion of the two lovers. It's the presence of the third point in the triangle.
Sam. Yeah.
For 2 decades, the narrative has firmly positioned Sam as the villain.
He was the rigid, judgmental obstacle.
He was the guy who made Yash swear not to date Jordan, who passed along cruel notes, who hovered like a punitive shadow over the Paris phone booth.
But strip away the past and look at the absolute nuance in room 508.
Sam has been sleeping on a miserable tiny cot at the foot of Yash's hospital bed for a solid week.
Sam is the one doing the grueling, unglamorous labor of love.
He is wiping Yash's spilled coffee with a wet tissue.
He is managing the loud visitors, adjusting the oxygen cannula when Yash struggles to breathe, tracking the complex medication schedule.
When Yash's oxygen failed in the middle of the night earlier that week, it was Sam who rushed him to the emergency room.
This entirely subverts the tired love triangle trope.
It really does. We want the rival to be a one-dimensional monster.
But the perceived villain turns out to be fiercely, quietly, unbreakably devoted.
Sam didn't steal Yash away back in their 20s just to be petty or controlling. He truly, deeply loved his friend in his own complicated, rule-bound way.
And when the absolute worst happens, Sam is the one who stays in the trenches, doing the terrifying work of caretaking.
Right.
If we connect this to the bigger picture of the text, this entire scene validates a core argument Jordan makes about the fundamental mechanics of human connection.
You mean the interview scene?
Yes. Earlier in the novel, Jordan is in Reykjavik, Iceland, being interviewed by her editor.
Right.
The editor cynically argues that in literature and in life, love is a weakness. He claims it makes characters vulnerable to manipulation, irrationality, and ultimate destruction.
But Jordan fiercely pushes back.
She argues that love is the only viable form of hope. She asks him, what good is any other virtue without love?
And room 508 proves Jordan's thesis perfectly.
It does.
Look at the raw elements swirling in that hospital room. It is a cauldron of fear, impending grief, and decades-old grudges.
Jordan is terrified her own son might die back in Maine.
Sam and Jordan have 20 years of mutual animosity standing between them.
Yash is terrified of the dark void approaching him.
But love, messy, imperfect, rigidly expressed, constantly enduring love, is the only gravity keeping these three people tethered to the earth.
It completely dissolves the bitterness.
Think about the grudges you are holding on to right now, the resentments from your youth that you wear like armor.
When faced with the stark, fluorescent reality of a hospital room, when the end is undeniably in sight, how many of those heavy, important grievances instantly dissolve into profound grace?
All the anger Jordan carried towards Sam's judgment, all the deep betrayal she felt when Yash abandoned her at Carousel 3, it simply evaporates in the face of their shared humanity and their shared immense grief.
The things we grip so tightly end up feeling completely weightless when the clock runs out.
They really do. But before we wrap up this deep dive, there is one final lingering thread in this hospital room that we haven't fully untangled.
And it speaks directly to the choices we are making today.
It's a moment steeped in devastating irony.
It really is. Amidst the chaos of the basketball game and the IV drips, Yash, who knows he only has days left to live, pulls Jordan aside and asks her for a final favor.
He wants her to have a serious talk with his young cousin, Jared.
Jared wants to move to Los Angeles and pursue a life as a graphic novelist, and Yash is deeply worried about him.
Right. Yash wants Jordan to warn Jared about the inherent risks of a creative life.
He tells her to explain to the kid how hard it is, to point out all the people who end up failing.
He wants Jared to be practical, to keep his feet on the ground.
Even on his literal deathbed, Yash is still functioning as an agent of the safe path.
And Jordan just stands there, looking at the man she loved, absorbing the ultimate tragedy of his request.
Yash made the practical choice. He listened to his father. He left the magic of Paris.
He turned down the artificial intelligence job to go work in a soul-crushing cubicle that smelled like mayonnaise and vapor rub.
He played it entirely safe.
And where did the safe path lead him? It didn't protect him from tragedy.
No, it didn't.
He is dying anyway, lying in a hospital bed with a heart full of saline-laced regret about the tenderness he hoarded and the magnificent life he refused to live.
It's just devastating.
So I want you to mull this over long after you finish listening today. What if the true tragedy of life isn't the bold, catastrophic mistakes we make?
What if the real tragedy is the safe paths we force ourselves down out of fear?
Exactly. What if the absolute greatest risk you can take in this life is playing it safe?
This raises an important question about every decision waiting for us tomorrow.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep questioning the narrative.